They came from brands known for reliability and performance, but these 7 Japanese motorcycles missed the mark so badly that dealers are stuck with them, unsold, unwanted, and collecting dust. From confused designs to underwhelming engines, these are the bikes dealerships are trying to dump as fast as possible. And the best part, dealers are giving massive discounts because of this. Number 7. Suzuki Boulevard C50. There was a time when a small displacement Japanese cruiser could slide right into the market and quietly grab loyal fans. The Suzuki Boulevard C50 set out to be a dependable, budget-friendly cruiser with classic looks and accessible performance. Its chrome accents, low-slung stance, and traditional cruiser silhouette aim to capture the spirit of laid-back riding without the premium price tag. Initially, it found favor among riders looking for a simple, no-frills machine. But as the market evolved, the C50's appeal faded, and dealerships are now stuck with models they just can't move. Tucked within its classic frame is an air-cooled V-twin engine displacing 805 cubic centimeters. It produces 53 horsepower and 52 pound-feet of torque, which feels modest in today's cruiser market. Weighing in at 611 pounds, it has a low seat height of 27.6 inches, making it accessible for shorter riders. The suspension setup includes a telescopic fork up front and dual shocks at the rear, while braking is handled by a single front disc and a rear drum, a setup that feels dated in comparison to modern dual-disc systems. The biggest issue is that the Boulevard C50 lacks a distinct identity. It looks like a cruiser, but it does not deliver the rumble, presence, or customization potential that enthusiasts expect from the genre. Harley-Davidson loyalists see it as an imitation, and riders seeking something modern find it lacking in both performance and personality. The smooth, muted engine character fails to deliver the visceral punch that cruiser fans crave, while its bulk makes low-speed handling feel sluggish. Customization is another limitation. While some aftermarket parts are available, the options are sparse compared to Harley-Davidson or Indian. Cruiser riders want to make their bikes their own, but the C50's platform does not support much personalization. As a result, it lacks the community and fanbase that can keep a model relevant for years. Dealerships quickly realized that the C50's appeal was limited. Even with competitive pricing, it failed to resonate with the core cruiser crowd. Riders looking for a bargain cruiser often opted for used Harleys or Indian Scouts instead, both of which offer stronger engines, better comfort, and significantly higher resale value. Without a loyal following or a clear niche, the Boulevard C50 has become one of the toughest bikes to move off dealership floors. And if the C50 feels outdated, wait until you see the next bike, a Honda that wanted to be sporty but forgot how to be fun. Look, we went through dealership reports, rider feedback, and ownership experiences, so you don't have to. If this breakdown saved you time, hit subscribe and stick around for more insights into bikes that missed the mark. Number 6. Honda CB300R. It looks sharp, wears a respected badge, and comes from one of the most trusted names in the industry. The Honda CB300R was intended to be the ultimate lightweight naked bike for new riders. Sharp styling, reliable performance, and a trusted brand behind it. On paper, it seemed like a no-brainer for anyone looking to get into motorcycling. But in practice, it found itself caught in a peculiar limbo. Too small to impress seasoned riders, too pricey to compete with other beginner-friendly bikes, and too cramped to keep newcomers satisfied for long. As a result, the CB300R struggled to find a dedicated fan base. Powering the CB300R is a single-cylinder, 286 cubic centimeter engine, producing 30 horsepower and 20 pound-feet of torque. The bike weighs just 317 pounds and features a seat height of 31.5 inches. Equipped with a 6-speed transmission, telescopic front suspension, and a single rear shock, it has disc brakes front and rear for reliable stopping power. Now, while its lightweight makes it agile and easy to maneuver in city traffic, that same characteristic becomes a drawback on the highway. Crosswinds easily push it around, and the engine's limited power struggles to maintain comfortable speeds. It is a bike best suited for urban commuting, but its limitations become apparent when riders push it beyond 40 miles per hour. Comfort is another sticking point. While the upright riding position suits shorter riders, taller individuals find the compact cockpit cramped. The narrow handlebar sweep and tight knee clearance make longer rides uncomfortable. Given that the bike is marketed to first-time owners, this lack of ergonomic flexibility is a significant flaw. Riders who do not feel comfortable immediately often start looking for an upgrade sooner than expected. Then there is the pricing issue. With a starting price of $5,499, the CB300R finds itself in an awkward position. It costs more than the Honda Rebel 300, yet offers less versatility than competitors like the Yamaha MT-03 or the Kawasaki Ninja 400, both of which deliver more power and better highway performance for a similar investment. Styling is perhaps the CB300R's strongest point. The Neo Sports Cafe aesthetic gives it a modern, aggressive look with LED lighting and a minimalist design. However, aesthetics alone cannot carry a bike in this competitive segment. Riders looking for more practicality find the lack of wind protection and limited cargo options problematic, especially when compared to bikes that can handle longer distances or varied terrains. Dealers soon realized that the CB300R's appeal was limited. It looked good in showrooms but did not sell as expected. New riders often opted for more powerful options, while those looking for commuter practicality found better value elsewhere. As a result, the CB300R became a tough sell, sitting in inventories far longer than anticipated. The Honda CB300R aimed to balance style and entry-level performance, but fell short of both marks. It is a bike that looks promising on the surface, but lacks the practical appeal that beginner riders need and the excitement that experienced riders want. And if you thought the CB300R struggled to find its place, the next Yamaha cruiser took confusion to a whole new level by not knowing what kind of motorcycle it wanted to be. Number 5. Yamaha SCR 950. There was a time when scramblers dominated the motorcycle scene. Riders were captivated by the rugged aesthetic, high pipes, upright stance, and retro charm, but they also wanted modern performance to handle both urban streets and light trails. Yamaha spotted the trend and introduced the SCR 950, aiming to combine cruiser comfort with scrambler style. Unfortunately, instead of hitting the mark, it landed somewhere in between. It was too heavy for off-road use, too awkward for cruising, and too confused to establish a loyal following. Beneath its retro exterior, the SCR 950 packs an air-cooled V twin engine, displacing 942 cubic centimeters. It produces 51 horsepower and 58 pound-feet of torque. The bike weighs 562 pounds and features a flat bench seat, wide handlebars, and mid-position foot pegs. Suspension duties are handled by telescopic forks at the front and dual shocks at the rear, while braking is managed by a single front disc and rear drum. The core problem with the SCR 950 is its confused identity. Scramblers are supposed to be nimble, lightweight, and capable of tackling rough terrain. The SCR, however, carries its bulk like a standard cruiser. It feels stable on the road but far from agile when maneuvering through tight trails or loose surfaces. Even on gravel, the bike's soft suspension bottoms out, and the limited ground clearance becomes a major drawback. Compared to the more agile Triumph Street Scrambler or Ducati Scrambler, the SCR feels cumbersome and uninspiring. Ergonomically, it also misses the mark. The flat bench seat, while visually appealing, becomes uncomfortable on longer rides. The wide handlebars and oddly positioned foot pegs create an awkward riding triangle, making the bike feel neither aggressive nor relaxed. It does not fit the mold of a scrambler, cruiser, or standard street bike, leaving potential buyers unsure of what they're getting. Even the styling, which was supposed to be one of its strongest features, falls short. Yamaha tried to blend the classic XS aesthetic with modern touches like LED lighting and matte finishes, but the result feels forced. The engine frame and exhaust system are clearly borrowed from the Bolt Cruiser, making it evident that the SCR is more cruiser than scrambler. This disjointed design failed to resonate with the scrambler community, which values both authenticity and functionality. Pricing only added to its struggles. At $8,699, The SCR 950 was not exactly a bargain. In that price range, riders could choose from real dual sport machines, more powerful naked bikes, or purpose-built scramblers with superior handling. The SCR simply did not offer enough excitement, practicality, or authenticity to justify its cost, leading to slow sales and lukewarm reception from both dealerships and riders. Yamaha attempted to cash in on the scrambler craze but ended up with a bike that pleased no one. Instead of capturing the adventurous spirit of its competitors, the SCR 950 remained an oddball, too compromised to thrive in any specific category. If the SCR 950's identity crisis left you scratching your head, the next Kawasaki sport bike tried to capture performance enthusiasts and ended up leaving them thoroughly disappointed. Number 4. Kawasaki Ninja 600R. In a world where performance is everything, Kawasaki's Ninja lineup has always stood tall. Positioned as the entry point into serious track-ready fun, it was supposed to attract riders looking for a balance between performance and affordability. But instead, it ended up as a compromise that satisfied neither enthusiasts nor casual riders, leaving dealerships with models they just couldn't move. Under the aggressive bodywork lies a 636 cubic centimeter inline four-cylinder engine. It produces 127 horsepower and 53 pound-feet of torque, delivering sharp acceleration when revved past 8,000 revolutions per minute. The bike weighs 427 pounds and features a fully adjustable suspension setup with inverted forks up front and a monoshock at the rear. Braking is handled by dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, but the lack of ABS on this model is a notable drawback. Although the spec seems sold, the problem lies not in the engine's capability but in how the power is delivered. To experience the real performance, riders need to push the engine into the higher rev range. Below that, the power delivery feels flat, making it a chore for everyday street riding. For a bike marketed as a supersport, this lack of usable mid-range power made it frustrating for riders who weren't constantly chasing the red line. The lack of ABS was another glaring issue. At this price point, buyers expect at least some basic safety features, especially when targeting newer riders transitioning to supersports. Without ABS, the Ninja 600R felt unforgiving, demanding precise brake control to avoid wheel lockup during hard stops. This made it less approachable for casual riders who wanted a bit of safety net without sacrificing the thrill. Handling is where the bike both excels and falls short. On twisty back roads or at the track, the crisp steering and firm suspension make it a weapon in the right hands. But in city traffic or long highway commutes, the aggressive ergonomics quickly become uncomfortable. The high narrow seat, tight foot pegs, and low clip-on handlebars force the rider into a race-ready crouch that feels out of place on everyday streets. What works for a few fast laps doesn't translate to practical riding. Visually, the Ninja 600R didn't help its case either. The styling remained largely unchanged from previous generations, making it feel dated. Competitors like the Yamaha R6 and even the aging Suzuki GSX R600 offered more modern aesthetics, sleeker lines, and updated instrument clusters, while the Ninja's bulky tail section and basic dash seemed stuck in a past decade. Then there was the price, $10,799 for the non-ABS version. For a bike that was supposed to attract entry-level supersport enthusiasts, it felt overpriced, especially when other models offered more features for a similar cost. Riders found themselves gravitating toward more modern alternatives that offered ABS, better styling, and more usable power delivery, often for just a few $100s more. In trying to be a budget-friendly supersport, the Ninja 600R ended up alienating the very audience it was supposed to attract. It was neither affordable enough to be an easy choice, nor equipped enough to feel like a worthwhile investment. From stripped down to overbuilt, the next Suzuki took the opposite approach, throwing every feature into the mix only to end up missing the mark entirely. Number 3. Suzuki GSX 750. It had the name, it had the engine, and it had a segment filled with opportunity. It was supposed to capture urban riders looking for a blend of punchy performance and daily usability. Instead, it hit the market with a lukewarm reception, failing to capture the excitement or loyalty needed to thrive. In a segment where attitude and precision matter, the GSX-S 750 felt out of place, neither thrilling nor practical enough to make a lasting impact. At its heart is a liquid-cooled inline four-cylinder engine with a displacement of 749 cubic centimeters. It produces 98 horsepower and 58 pound-feet of torque. The bike weighs 462 pounds and features a 6-speed transmission, non-adjustable front forks, a single rear shock, and dual front disc brakes. The slightly lean-forward riding position is complemented by wide handlebars and mid-mounted foot pegs for moderate comfort. So, what's wrong with this thing? Well, it feels uninspired. The engine, while capable on paper, delivers power in a way that fails to ignite passion. The low-end torque is underwhelming, and it takes revving into the higher range to feel any real surge. For a bike marketed as a street fighter, it lacks the immediate aggression that makes competitors like the Kawasaki Z900 and Yamaha MT-09 so appealing. In real-world scenarios, it feels flat and unresponsive, especially in stop-and-go traffic where instant power is crucial. Handling is competent but not engaging. The suspension is basic, and while it absorbs minor bumps well enough, it offers little feedback when cornering with enthusiasm. In a category where nimble, precise handling is essential, the GSX-S feels merely adequate, neither sporty nor entirely comfortable. This middle-of-the-road performance left riders wanting more, especially when they could find sharper options at a similar price point. Styling was supposed to give the GSX-S 750 an edge, but the execution fell flat. The angular tank shrouds, compact tail, and minimalist headlight lack the aggressive, standout aesthetic that defines the best street fighters. In a lineup where looks matter, the GSX-S seemed bland, neither classic nor modern enough to draw attention. Younger riders, who often buy based on both performance and appearance, simply weren't impressed. Tech and features were another area where the GSX-S lagged. The basic digital instrument panel looked dated, and the lack of riding modes, traction control, or advanced electronics made it feel outclassed by rivals. In an era where rider assistance systems are becoming the norm, Suzuki's decision to keep it bare bones worked against the bike's appeal. It felt like a previous generation's machine trying to compete in a rapidly evolving market. The price didn't help either. At $8,599, it sat in a space that didn't quite cater to beginners or seasoned riders. Too expensive to be a first bike, but too limited to appeal to experienced enthusiasts. The GSX-S 750 struggled to justify its cost. Many riders found that just a little extra investment could secure a more powerful, better-equipped model. In trying to balance simplicity and performance, the GSX-S 750 ended up in a no-man's land of mediocrity. Capable but forgettable. It was a bike without a strong identity, neither fierce enough to compete as a true street fighter, nor refined enough to stand out as a versatile commuter. Suzuki Street Fighter might have missed the target, but this next Honda flat-out confused everyone and tried to pass off cafe style as performance. Number 2. Honda CB1000R Neo Sports Cafe. On paper, the Honda CB1000R Neo Sports Cafe seemed destined for greatness. It had the power, the unique design, and Honda's reputation for unshakable reliability. The idea was to merge cafe racer simplicity with modern naked performance, creating a bike that looked as good as it performed. But in reality, the CB1000R ended up as one of the most perplexing motorcycles in Honda's lineup. It had style in spades, but it left buyers unsure of its purpose, resulting in a bike that dealers just couldn't move. At its core lies a liquid-cooled inline four-cylinder engine with a displacement of 998 cubic centimeters. It delivers 143 horsepower and 77 pound-feet of torque. The bike weighs 475 pounds and features a seat height of 32.7 inches. Equipped with fully adjustable Showa suspension, it has radial mount 4-piston calipers with twin 310mm front discs and a single 240mm rear disc, offering powerful and stable braking. So where did it all go wrong? First off, there's the identity issue. The Neo Sports Cafe branding left many riders confused. Was it a performance naked, a retro modern cafe build, a high-tech commuter with cafe aesthetics? It wasn't clear. And in a market where purpose drives passion, ambiguity kills interest. Riders looking for a stripped-down cafe racer turned to Triumph's Speed Twin or Ducati's Scrambler series. Those wanting aggressive naked bike performance went with the MT-10 or Z1000. The CB1000R fell somewhere awkwardly in between. Too refined to be raw, too expensive to be simple. Then there's the price tag. At a starting cost of $12,999, the CB1000R was priced alongside some of the most exciting and tech-packed bikes in the category. While it featured modern styling and solid hardware, it lacked features like ride modes, cruise control, or cornering ABS, standard equipment on many of its competitors. Buyers expected more tech for that kind of money, and when they saw the CB's relatively stripped-down instrument panel and limited electronics suite, they kept walking. The styling, while beautiful, was also polarizing. The round LED headlights, sculpted tank, and exposed frame sections gave the bike a futuristic elegance, but not everyone appreciated the aesthetic. Riders looking for the raw edge of a street fighter found it too polished. Those who appreciated classic cafe lines thought it was too modern. The result, a design that looked great in the showroom, but didn't stir enough emotion to close the sale. The CB1000R Neo Sports Cafe was an ambitious project that couldn't find its audience. In a market where purpose and passion are intertwined, its ambiguous identity left riders questioning whether it was worth the investment. Without a strong niche or clear appeal, it quickly became a model that stayed on showroom floors far longer than anticipated. But while the CB1000R struggled with identity, the next bike on our list faced a different problem. It aimed to rule the highways, but couldn't even make it out of the garage. Number 1. Yamaha Royal Star Venture. There was a time when Yamaha set out to challenge the heavyweight touring giants, aiming straight at Harley Davidson and Indian. The Royal Star Venture was their answer, a fully equipped luxury tourer built to conquer long-distance rides with comfort and style. It boasted power, loaded features, and a commanding road presence. Yet despite all that, it never captured the hearts of touring enthusiasts. In a market where brand loyalty reigns supreme, the Royal Star Venture simply could not compete, leaving dealers across America with inventory they just couldn't clear. At the heart of the Royal Star Venture lies a liquid-cooled VS4 engine with a displacement of 1,298 cubic centimeters. It produces 97 horsepower and 89 pound-feet of torque. Weighing 848 pounds, it features a low seat height of 29.5 inches, plush two-up seating, spacious floorboards, full fairings, and integrated hard saddlebags. The braking system includes dual front discs and a single rear disc, while the suspension consists of telescopic front forks and a rear monoshock. The biggest issue was identity, or the lack thereof. Touring riders typically seek a bike with personality, and the Royal Star Venture's smooth V4 engine did not deliver the thumping, visceral feel that Harley-Davidson's big V twins are known for. While the engine provided consistent power and smooth highway cruising, it felt sterile compared to the iconic American touring machines. Riders looking for that classic rumble and a sense of raw mechanical engagement found the Royal Star Venture too refined and characterless. Size was another challenge. The Royal Star Venture is a massive bike, and while its low seat height makes it accessible for shorter riders, the sheer weight makes low-speed handling a real struggle. Navigating parking lots or making tight turns requires significant effort, which turned off many potential buyers. On the open road, the heft helps with stability and crosswind resistance, but for anyone used to smaller cruisers, the transition felt daunting and cumbersome. Comfort was where the Royal Star Venture tried to make its mark. Yamaha equipped it with luxury features, cruise control, full audio, passenger backrest, and plenty of lighting options. But while these touches were appreciated, they weren't unique. Competing Harley-Davidson models like the Ultra Limited or Road Glide CVO offered comparable or superior amenities, along with a far richer brand experience. The Royal Star Venture, by contrast, felt like a well-equipped outsider trying to fit into an established culture. Technology was another shortfall. By the time Yamaha released the latest iterations, the Venture's electronics were already outdated. The instrument cluster was analog-heavy and cluttered, while the infotainment system lagged behind competitors. In an era where riders expect Bluetooth connectivity, ride modes, and advanced digital displays, the Venture felt out of touch. Touring bikes need to combine comfort with cutting-edge tech, and Yamaha simply didn't keep up. Even after purchase, resale posed a significant problem. Unlike Harley-Davidson, Yamaha didn't cultivate a strong club culture around the Royal Star Venture. Riders looking to trade in or resell found limited demand, as the bike never became an icon within the touring community. Without brand loyalty to support its reputation, the Venture depreciated faster than its competitors, making it less appealing both new and used. The price was the final nail in the coffin. At $24,999, it sat firmly in the premium category, but lacked the legacy and emotional appeal that buyers at this price point expect. Touring riders want more than just features. They want a connection, a story, and a sense of belonging. Yamaha's Royal Star Venture delivered on specs but fell short on spirit, leaving it parked and polished in showrooms far longer than intended. And that wraps up our countdown of 7 Japanese motorcycles that dealers are trying to dump as soon as possible. Have you seen one of these bikes gathering dust at your local dealership? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this list, make sure to subscribe and like the video for more deep dive motorcycle breakdowns.